Hello, welcome to 47.
Yep.
We're almost at 50.
And we're affecting outliers.
You know, video 50 is the golden video.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Yeah. Anyway, looking
I'm
forward
not
to
giving
it.
you anything special.
Oh, come on. All right, the effect of outliers.
Okay, so in order to do this, we're going to kind of play around with a graphing tool
Ooh, cool.
to kind of help you
We
out.
get to play with something. Fathom.
Yeah.
All right, so this allows us to move data points around and see what happens to the line of best fit. So we had a rule for calculating outliers when it was just one variable. Remember the lower fence, upper fence, stuff like that. There's no such rule kind of for two variables, at least in the AP stats. But we kind of eyeball whether a point is an outlier or not, and it has to do with how much influence it has on the graph.
Yes.
Okay, so and how much influence it has to do with where it starts, or how much it changes the slope and the correlation.
Right.
Okay, so we're going to move one of the data points around. We're going to make a data point an outlier, and we're going to consider the effect on the graph. So it's kind of hard to read, but way at the bottom we have the slope. The initial slope looks like, is it 0.14?
1.064.
Wow,
That's for the x's.
man.
You were looking at the y-intercept.
1.6. Okay, I'm going to write this down in my hand.
1.06.
1.06. Okay.
Almost.
Then the correlation r squared is
0.82.
okay. So we're kind of interested in how much the outlier influences the slope and the correlation.
That's a big.
All right.
Let's see.
So we're gonna start by moving one of the points so that has a high residual. That one?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's move it over here to the left,
To the left.
above the data and to the left.
Right here?
Okay.
That
Yeah.
good? Okay.
That's good. We'll start there. So that's an outlier because it's outside the pattern. So first off, we have this kind of general concept of an outlier, something that lies outside of the pattern of the others.
Right.
This one is considered to have high residual. It's above the rest of the data, but its y value is very different than the line of best fit. So if we drew an arrow for that red point there, it'd be a really large residual.
Right.
Okay, so high residual means well above the line of best fit or below it. Okay, now what was the effect of that on the line?
Well, it looks like, it killed our r squared. It's
Yeah,
almost zero now.
So yeah, it hurt the correlation because before we had a pretty strong pattern, but with that we don't have a strong pattern anymore. So our correlation went down.
So did our slope. It went from 1.0 to 0.1.
So notice it's kind of weird because it was a little bit to the left of the center of the data. It pulled the line up. And if you move it to the right, it pulled the left side of the line up and decreased the slope.
Right.
But if you move it to the right, notice it pulls the line up again.
Yeah.
Could you move it back left?
I can.
Yeah, so when it's over that part of the data, it pulls up the left side of the line. Because it's a line of best fit, it's trying to reduce that residual. All right, the next thing is high leverage. So can you move to the right quite a bit? So, and up a little bit, like up here. Actually, a little bit further to the left. A little bit more, a little bit more. There we go. How about there? Let's talk there.
That's wherever you want it, Mr. Miller.
Wonderful, man. See, I can do this all day. Now, this doesn't have a high residual anymore because it's not that far above the line.
No.
So actually, this point doesn't have a high residual. But it changed the slope dramatically. Right?
Yes.
It pulls the line near it. Okay, so when you have an outlier like this, that's kind of way to the right of the data, it pulls the line up. This is said to have high leverage. If the x value is a lot greater than the average x value, this means like far to the right or far to the left, it's said to have leverage. So high residual means it's far above or below the line. High leverage means it's to the left or to the right of the data group. The x value is much to the right or to the left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So points that like that have a huge effect. They draw the line towards it. So now the slope is what?
1.8.
Okay, so the slope increased some.
Yes.
Okay, now, Mr. Lewis, could you move it so that point's kind of in line with the data?
Yeah, I think that's good.
Okay, so it's still an outlier.
Yes.
But because it's in line with the data, it doesn't affect the slope very much.
No.
and it even increased the correlation
Yeah, our R is now 0.96.
because it
Or
kind
R
of
squared,
draws a
sorry.
line through the way that the data was originally going. So it's possible for an outlier to increase the correlation if it's in line with the data.
Yes.
Okay, now move it down. So here we're going to see how it really affects it. If we move it down far enough, we can even change the slope to being negative. So what was originally positive association, that one outlier changed it to be negative.
Yeah.
So points with high leverage that are far to the right or left in terms of x can do that. Totally change the slope. So the slope is now negative, and the correlation is, isn't it r squared like 0 something?
0.14.
Oh, 0.14, very low.
Still, yeah.
Okay, so if it changes the slope dramatically and the correlation, it's said that be an influential point. Okay.
Mhm.
So when it was in line with the data, could you put it back there?
I can.
That would not be considered an influential point.
No.
Because it really didn't change the slope very much. But if you move it to the left where we had it originally, that changed the slope quite a bit, so that's influential. Or if you move it down to the lower right, where it totally made it negative, that's influential.
Yes.
Okay. All right, so we'll be talking more about that in class.
All right.
Let's take a look at some examples.
We can do that. Let's pop it up. All right. So here we have more unusual points. Okay, so
I take it it's that one.
yeah, I'm gonna guess it's this guy right here. So in what way is this point unusual?
High residual.
Yeah, I would think this is a high residual point.
Would you say it had high leverage?
Yeah, because it's pulling that line. So.
But this one's kind of near the
Oh, yeah,
middle
it's right
of the
there in the
pack.
middle.
You gotta think
You're
horizontally. Horizontally, the x value is kind of near the average x value, so it may have low leverage, but it does have a high residual, and it's going to pull the line up.
Yes.
Okay,
All right. So is this an influential point?
it's going to have some influence. It's going to change the slope of the line, and it changes
Yes.
the correlation. So yes.
Okay. Is the point removed, would the correlation become stronger or weaker?
What do you say?
I'm going to say stronger.
I'll agree with you. Because if it were gone, we have that nice strong pattern there.
Yes. And if that point were removed from the data, would the slope increase or decrease?
That's a tough one. I think this point pulls up the slope because it's a little bit to the left. It kind of pulls up. I mean, this point
Yeah.
decreases the slope. I'm sorry.
Right.
It pulls up the left side. So if we take it away,
Yeah, I think I was going to,
it's going to increase the slope.
I would agree with that.
Okay.
I'm going to say increase as
Yeah.
well.
All right. Very good. That one's kind of tough.
All right. Ooh.
Same questions, different graph. All right, Mr. Lewis. In what way is that point unusual?
Well, again, this is a pretty out there point. I'm going to say this is a high leverage point.
It is. And it's going to cause the line to best fit. Notice that without that point, it'd be a positive association.
Yeah.
But it's going to draw the line to best fit towards it.
Right. This is almost going to make it a horizontal line.
Yeah, it's going to kind of cause it to go the wrong way.
Right.
This is definitely an influential point. It's going to change the slope dramatically.
Right. So, yes. And this is leverage. All right. If the point were to be moved with the correlation, it's going to become much stronger.
Yeah.
Because right now it's making a very weak correlation because that one is right there. And then would our slope increase or decrease?
Well, if you took it out, yeah, it's going to increase because right now it might even be negative or close to horizontal.
Yeah.
But if we take it out,
Right now, line probably looks like this.
yeah. But if you take it out, the slope's going to be positive.
Yeah.
So the slope's going to increase.
Somewhere up.
Okay.
All right.
Look at this one.
Well, here, I'm going to say,
High leverage.
high leverage for sure. But this is kind of making, see, there's no real pattern here.
Right.
It's almost making a pattern out of nothing.
True. So this is actually going to strengthen the correlation, believe it or not. So if you calculate R, it's gonna make it have like a positive association.
It's
where originally it had nothing.
Right. It's going to tell you that you can predict something when you really can't.
Okay, so does it have It probably doesn't have a high residual because if we add the line of best fit, it'll probably come close to that point.
Yeah, it's gonna follow because that's gonna pull the line that way.
So high leverage, yes.
Leverage?
Large residual, probably not.
Is this influential?
Yes.
Very much so.
High leverage. Okay.
If the point were removed, would the correlation become stronger or weaker? Well, this is when it would become weaker.
Yeah, because if it were gone, totally random pattern.
Yeah. If we're gone, we're just, we just have a line that looks like this.
Okay.
And that's not what we want.
Would the slope increase or decrease?
Again, I'm going to say it's going to decrease because I'm going to predict that right now the line looks something like this.
Yeah.
And it's going to make it look like this.
Right. Okay. Good. Next. Oh, one more. Okay.
Okay. Oh, you can.
This is
gotta
kind
go.
of in line. So,
Yeah.
in what way is it unusual? Well, it has high leverage
Right.
because it's far from the center of the data horizontally, and
It does not have a large residual, so
No.
this is going to be leverage.
Yeah.
I don't think this is an influential point, though.
no, because it's kind of going the direction the data was going already.
Yeah.
So it may strengthen the correlation. So if we remove the correlation, might get a little bit weaker because I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it would be tough to know without some numbers, but yeah, we can guess weaker.
Yeah.
And then would our slope increase or decrease?
About the same, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean,
So this point is
It
not really
almost-
influential because it's not going to change the slope and the correlation that much.
because the slope's so negative, I guess it would maybe increase slightly, maybe just tilt the line down that way.
Yeah, but I don't think a big change.
No, so we'll just put about the same.
So that's why it wasn't influential. If it made
Yes.
a big change, we'd call it influential. Now, this is kind of gray area and a little hard to tell, but we're looking for points that can make a dramatic difference.
Right.
Right, so that's influential. So we kind of have to do the analysis with the point in and with the point out to see really if it's influential.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. Oh, we didn't give you guys a question.
We're going to make up a question.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. So, Mr. Lewis, maybe
We just want to write it
Write
in,
it
or
in?
you want me to computer write it in? Okay, let's computer write it in.
okay.
We're gonna.
So we have some. While
guys-
he's doing that,
you guys are gonna go as time happens. All right. So we have our line over here. So, Mr. Miller, what should we ask them?
if we remove elephants from the data, will the correlation increase or decrease? Oops. And so B, same thing, if we remove the elephants, will the slope increase or decrease?
Okay.
And C, the elephants have high residual, high residual, high leverage, or high leverage, or both.
Or
Very
both.
good. Okay, how about that? That's pretty good.
Looks great to me.
All right, think about that.
All
if you
right,
move the
guys.
point.
Look at it. You saw us
Wow,
slide in
live.
progress. All right. So there's your 3 questions.
I think we've been making this up all year long.
Exactly. It's good for them. You guys see the work in action behind the scenes.
Oh, we went and got this data.
Mm-hmm.
All right, this is real elephant data.
Next week we'll give you outtakes. All right. See you guys in class.